And welcome back, disc golf fans, for final round coverage of the Disc Golf Pro Tour Plus event, Prodigy Presents WACO. We're here to crown a champion today for the first time at the Lake Waco Golf Club. Excited to see how it plays out. I'm Nathan Queen, again joined by Andrew Fish.
Yeah, delighted to be here. Central Texas always shows up with great attendance and great energy, and no exception here as folks get to see Gregg Barsby, Niklas Anttila, Kyle Klein, and Casey White. A lot of Discmania on this card.
Yeah, 3 of the 4, Gregg Barsby being the lone Innova player. And as you said, a bit of a new team this year for Discmania. Gannon Burr also on that team out in the lead.
Yeah, we got to see him in round 3. We certainly hope you'll go check that out if you haven't already. Hole 1, 698 feet. It's a slightly downhill par 4. Forehand, backhand, roller, everything plays. Out of bounds golf green to the right, and then out of bounds left and right.
The representing Innova champion disc. Put your hands together for Gregg Barsby!
So not too much trouble off of this tee. I think if you get down left, the approach is a bit more open. As Gregg scaring that left side OB line.
Niklas with something of a breakout 2023 season. Looking forward to what he's able to do in 2024. Plays the hyzer flip to perfection. That is straight down the middle the entire way.
Representing Discmania. Put your hands together for Kyle Klein!
And Kyle Klein here, always seemingly quiet in his attacks, but seems to be towards the top pretty often here the last couple years.
Yeah, no doubt. When Kyle gets on runs, he's as dangerous as any player out there.
Rounding out our 2:35 time, representing Discmania, put your hands together for Casey White!
And low and driven out of Casey. Just got some more speed on it when it hit the ground, but still in fine position.
Yeah, Kyle staying up in that tree. Able to get a good amount of distance on that approach shot. But being out of position, we'll see if he can get his par there.
Casey White kind of having to go through the side door.
Yeah, maybe it leaves that a little bit shorter than he would have liked.
And as you noted, being on that left side opens up the green a little bit, as Niklas and Gregg both going to be able to go forehand through the front door.
Yeah, and I like how low Gregg was able to keep that. Didn't have to test that ceiling at all. Gonna skip up in there inside circle 1. And Kyle quickly waving off that par, knows there's some other chances to score out here.
Yeah, he kind of got away with the tee shot. I think after that, you can accept the par.
Is Niklas going to show us our first green of the day? Gregg not quite able to back that one up. Bit tentative on that first putt. Now, after A fairly relaxing first tee shot. We move into hole 2, much less relaxing, about 360 feet to clear the shortest point of that water carry. Depending on the wind, that could play a lot longer. Got some OB late on the second shot right, and OB left all the way down. But clearing this first shot should put you in a pretty good position to get up and down for birdie.
Just barely doing that is Niklas. Barsby certainly playing it wide right.
Shoo. And also, maybe even closer, just barely clearing that.
And Kyle, a little more power, able to be more aggressive.
Yeah, got some nice stand-up on a pretty steep hyzer angle there. Casey going more flex shot rather than hyzer flip. Gets it out there nicely. So what would you say is left? A bit farther back, you have 380 or so in this approach?
Yeah, I would think that it's a fast fairway or an overstable driver. You know, you don't have to get max distance because the ground is going to help you with a little bit of speed. But yeah, it's a full shot from back there.
And each player slowly getting 10, 15 feet closer. As Niklas plays it around those trees nicely, going to put himself in prime position for the birdie. And Kyle probably closer to inside 350 now with that more aggressive tee shot.
And they were all calling for it. Unfortunately, that's going to leave him outside the circle.
Yeah, flash the chains, but as you alluded to earlier, big ground play up here.
Casey
Nice.
White, great stick from circle 2.
Yeah, nice soft little floaty putt. As the skip proves to be just too long for Kyle, Gregg able to connect from his circle 2 look, get his first birdie of the round.
And now we're on hole 3, 677 feet, a par 4. Going to be the suggestion of a flex shot or something drifting to the right. And then the basket tucked up over a little hill and not more than 15, 18 feet away from out of bounds.
Yeah, farther right or 3 o'clock or so on a clock that you can get on this tee shot, the better. You don't really want to push too far straight. It's going to pinch off your angle for the approach shot.
Interesting choice there from Barsby. He throws a basically flat shot, but then by the time it's flying, it's going perpendicular to the fairway. More traditional is the flex shot that we see Casey play.
Kyle going right at that tree. He's going to catch it and drop down below. Pretty far back as far as birdie play from here. Let's see if he's got the power to get up there. Now he's going to catch some more branches.
From a similar position, but slightly less obstructed, is Niklas. This is pretty wide, Nathan.
Yeah, this is a shot that can bring that OB green into play. He's going to stay just short of it. Give himself a 70-foot look or so.
Barsby, good width, but that plays pretty quick.
Yeah, and enough on it to go long of the pin. Going to keep him from going left OB. Be in circle 1 looking for a birdie. This is moving left quick. And he is gonna, by maybe an inch from the camera, looks like he's gonna drift OB.
Kyle plays the forehand to run away from that out of bounds. And something subtle about this basket placement is there's a slight ridge to the right side and short that if you clear it and your disc has speed, wow, Niklas. If you clear it and your disc has speed, you do take that jump. But if you don't quite clear it, then you're kind of left out there, near circle's edge or beyond. Take one more look at Niklas.
Yes, we see this putt here from near OB to for sure birdie. Gonna start the round 3 for 3 with that 74-footer. Barsby gonna birdie as well.
Beth at 69.
I just told myself, you got to will this one in there. Whatever you have, just will it in there.
This man is unbelievable. This is what athletes live for. This is the moment.
Got a good thing coming, and it's all I need. Everything I wanted is in front of me. It's a good.
Moves us on to hole 4, 800-foot par 4, low downhill shot to just below that tree you saw on the right is going to give you another 400 feet to a late gap. The basket with OB behind it. Pretty difficult hole to get the birdie on. Even if you do have a perfect tee shot like Niklas here.
Yeah, low and driven. Gregg trying to follow, and he's going to come up a touch shorter, but the idea was the same.
Yeah, just that little bit of turn to the right he got with the downhill slope is going to cause that to burn out a little bit. You really want to keep this disc flat the entire flight if you can. A little higher from Casey here. Gonna catch some branches, but it looks like he is going to stay inbounds. Also needs to drop.
All right, so everybody in decent business here. Casey probably too far back to play for birdie. In a way, that's a relief. He just gets to play the one angle forehand up to the mouth of the gap.
Yeah, and Gregg, even in pretty good position, looks like he's really just trying to play to that gap as well. You've got OB right on that gap, so it's possible to kick OB, but it's also just super treacherous either side, as you see Niklas also taking the safe way. So Kyle taking it out wide over the OB.
And
just making it back in bounds late, it looks like.
yeah, that was dangerously close to the worst case scenario of being obstructed and 250 feet back and a penalty stroke. Good little approaches.
Yeah,
From
par
Barsby
plays.
and Casey.
Yeah, par plays paying off there. Niklas looking to execute the same, and he shall. We'll see if Kyle has a birdie look or if he's too obstructed. Oh, yeah, definitely too obstructed. So even with the more aggressive play, trying to get the birdie look, he's going to have the longest look for par after that kind of awkward scramble shot there. Oof.
Hole 5, 340 feet, a little bit uphill. Likely to see 4 backhand righty hyzers, because this is a backhand righty hyzer hole.
I remember this one tricked me. when I first got here, I saw that straight gap and not always thinking about looking up. I was like, oh man, this looks like a better gap for a lefty to me. They finally gave me a lefty hold. And then I played my first practice round with a couple righties and realized how wrong I was.
And Niklas dangerously close to the skip in.
Oh, and this is a little early out of the hand from Gregg.
Much better width and height from Casey. Probably is going to hang out a little bit right. But in play. Yeah, if you're not looking up, Nathan, I feel like you need to change your winter routine and not just play, straight woods courses.
Well, perhaps you're right. I did add some Florida in last off season, so we're starting to look up a little bit. That's Gregg Barsby from Barsby Range, gonna throw it in. What do you say that was, 110?
It's got to be at least that. This is in the air for 3.5 seconds.
And just catching. Last right side chain. Definitely a birdie you want a card. You know that's a relief for him.
Yeah, the rest of the field is doing it. You've already got 2 guys on your card parked.
Yeah, and Casey able to connect from circle 2, so we got them diamonds. Into hole 6, where we will likely, or certainly not have 4 birdies, I'll go ahead and say. Circle 2 is kind of your best look here. Another big righty hyzer. Pretty boring. I don't like it.
I guess that means I will do solo commentary for this hole, just to save Nathan the anguish of watching 4 righty hyzers again. But I agree. You're kind of throwing up to the sky with as much power as you can muster, and it just leaves these speculative 50-foot looks for the most part. Casey with the grunt for a little extra effort. And Kyle doesn't need a grunt. I'm always amazed at how clean and efficient his power source is. Looks like the best of the bunch. Niklas, forced to the forehand, is still going to have a putt to make, it seems like. Casey a little soft on the right side, but is going to convert. Back-to-back big putts for him. And the same result from Kyle. Back-to-back for him to get under par for the first time in this round. And I guess we kind of undersold how close we were to an all-birdie frame. Hole 7, 440 feet, a par 3. Big righty hyzer is an option. Or you can play a lower skip underneath the trees. Or if you are a lefty, you could play a big lefty hyzer too.
Yeah, much better hole design here. More options, more doable. You see big power there. And Casey White going to put him a bit long right. But long right is better than short left, as you see a very prickly big tree with bushes and stuff all around it. Short left. Absolutely no putt if you're around it.
I could kind of tell from Kyle's reaction that he knew he got under that. That wasn't going to carry all the way.
So Gregg, rather than going high right or left, he's just going to go high flex shot down the middle. And Oh, gets a nice roll out from behind that big tree bush vine thing you see there.
You think there's poison ivy in there?
I didn't get any when I was in it, but there could be. Just stabbed a couple times. Is Niklas going to take a lower line? Maybe a bit awkward stance or the knoll that this basket's on, making Kyle not quite commit to that one. We'll see a couple pars there from him and Casey.
Niklas continuing his good putting work. He erases the bogey from the previous hole.
And Gregg taking advantage of that roll down to the right. Gonna card his birdie as well. He's got a pretty hot round going. Moves us into hole 8, 401 foot, par 3. Gonna set up best for a forehand or a lefty backhand. There is a low kind of backhand turnover shot, but pretty difficult to execute with the way the ground shapes as well.
Gregg not quite getting to the top of the hill and actually going to end up out of bounds left. I believe there's a golf green over there.
Yeah, didn't really get that movement back to the right. This is that low kind of turnover shot that I was talking about. And Niklas executes the line well, but a bit too much power. Going to float on into circle 2.
Yeah, gorgeous shape though. And while Niklas was trying to play the flex shot, Casey goes with a very flippy disc, trying to play hyzer flip to flat.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was the wind or just too understable. He's going to end up way down to the right. That is a beautiful shot there from Kyle. Going to put him at the bullseye. Card himself a birdie.
Good effort from Casey. Here's Gregg for his 3-save attempt.
And valiant effort putting down the hill. Pretty easy for that to get away from you. And why not? Niklas keeping the big putts going. Back to back, 5 under par now for the round.
Hole 9, 759, downhill tee shot on this par 4. A lot of space to work with, and then the green kind of gets cramped in a hurry. There's a small out-of-bounds carry over this little stormwater culvert, or a wider forehand that stays in bounds the entire time. I think overall this is a pretty effective hole, but because the tee shot allows you to do several different things, and then there's different options of how to play the approach.
Yeah, I think it might be my favorite par 4 on the course. It's a really fun tee shot, not too demanding, but there are better spots to land in to help you birdie for your second shot. Like where he's at right here, not able to see the pin, so going to be a bit more difficult. But really fun par 4.
Casey goes full swing. He's going to be pretty left, but as a forehand comfortable player, likely to see the wide forehand.
Yeah,
And
Gregg
going to join him over there.
Yeah, likely wanted a little bit more drift on that, but wide forehand, well, not wide forehand, gonna go straight shot.
This is going to need to finish pretty quick.
Oh my goodness.
He might have carried a little corner of the green, but unless there's a spotter who got a really good eye on that, he probably think that's a completely lost disc in the water.
Yeah, not gonna expect it to be across the culvert over there. As Casey throws a great forehand that does eventually curl up into circle 1. I like that line from Kyle, keeping it nice and low. Gonna get a low skip off of that hill. Card the birdie.
And Niklas going to play the overstable shot, go to the basket, and then try to fade up the hill.
Executed nicely to the bullseye.
Casey will indeed convert. And they did give credit to Gregg for crossing the little corner over here. Unfortunately, bitten by the OB bug 2 holes in a row. So Niklas Anttila with 7 birdies on that front 9, out to the lead on this card at least.
Yeah, Casey White staying clean there. As we'll move on to the back 9 coverage. The Lake Waco Golf Club. Thank you guys for joining us here for the final round front 9 coverage. Make sure you tune in for back 9. For Andrew Fish, I'm Nathan Queen. We'll see you guys out there.